Okay, we are live. Father Miller here. Welcome back to the Nerd Father. I've lost track of our episode, but our first Saturday chat. We didn't do it last week because it was Easter or Holy Saturday. Um, I'm finally recovered from Holy Week. I think I drove about 900 miles because I went to the Chrism Mass last Monday. And that was beyond amazing because I got to see a lot of priests I haven't seen in over a year, and nobody was wearing a mask.
Ah.
So,
Yay!
but we're happy to have with us again Lady Gravemaster. Good to see
Hi,
you.
always a pleasure. Always good to see you, Father.
Got Miss Martin Muses. Good to see you as well. And joining us for the second time is the Mega Geek, Ian.
Yep.
Hello.
Good to see
Hello.
you.
Hi.
So, yeah, we were just talking before we went live. I saw Nobody on Thursday and loved it. I probably shouldn't be admitting it because it is definitely not family friendly. And I think the Catholic bishops, when they used to give out the movie ratings, it would get a big fat O for morally offensive.
Oh boy.
I think it has a higher body count than John Wick.
Oh, what, really?
That's impressive.
Wow.
It's very close. It's very, very close. But it was so awesome to be able to go back to a theater.
Yeah, I can
Because I think
imagine.
the last movie I saw in the theater was Sonic.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
That was
right
the
before
last-
all this started.
yeah.
Last-
That was the last.
last-
We went 3 times. That was the last
Oh,
one we saw
really?
before they shut down.
mad.
Yeah.
wow.
Well, I have small children, so. But I went I went twice with my kids, but then a group of us just went to have fun because it was just good nostalgic awesomeness.
Yeah,
Well,
Jim
I
Carrey
went to
became
support
that
it.
character at the ending, didn't he? Jim Carrey, because that character in the computer game, he doesn't look like Jim Carrey, but towards the ending, he actually looked like the villain in the computer game, didn't he? Jim Carrey. So that was quite cool, I guess. Sorry, I interrupted, Father. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. I was just going to say, I wasn't going to go see it originally because it looked horrible, but when they listened to the fans that were complaining about how awful it looked, I wanted
It was
to support them.
Yeah, it was so terrifying. Like, what was with those teeth? Like,
Don't know.
that's what his color was off, his shape was off, but then that scene in the first trailer where he smiled, I was like, no,
Yeah.
no.
I
It's so
imagine that
bad.
there was somebody on the team that was saying this is wrong, and then after the trailer aired, he was like, "I told you so! I told you so! You idiots!" But they changed it though; they didn't double down on
Yes.
it, and that's what's good.
Yeah.
The humanoid look does not work for Sonic.
No,
Ooh.
It doesn't work for any kind of computer or cartoon character, does it? You know, once you add the human aspect to a cartoon, it's not going to be a cartoon anymore. It's going to look weird, isn't it? So
Yeah, I don't know what they did, but whatever Sonic did to fix it is what Cats should have done. Because it was like the same, it was the same exact nightmare as Cats. Like, oh my word. I didn't see Cats.
Oh.
I've actually seen it like in real life on stage, but oh man, that trailer was that was nightmare fuel. Good God.
the thing is, though, it's not the kind of movie I don't think anyone would watch. It just looks weird, and they've obviously done CGI to all of their bodies and stuff, so it just looks really weird. So I don't know.
well,
So
the
this
show
is
is meant to be. Oh, I'm sorry. The show is meant to be
Oh, go
live,
ahead.
so it with song and dance and stuff. So it's not even really amenable to live action. I'm sorry, Father. I interrupted you
No,
talking about the death
that's okay.
toll.
I was just going to say, this is from the Babylon Bee. I saw
God.
this last night, basically talking about the pandemic and the death toll from these different things. And Cats actually made it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Surpassed
crazy.
Ghostbusters.
We got
Death
down
with this
here.
movie.
oh my gosh.
Chicken sandwich wars, those were intense. That was also right before Corona shut everything down. But I remember that. It was the Popeyes chicken sandwiches. My goodness.
Yeah, Brett Kavanaugh. Net neutrality repealed. Yeah, gosh, this is a history document.
Yeah, all of America's dead. Like,
Mm.
and then some. Because 200 million exploded at the inauguration, so there's 2/3 of our population right there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So what's new?
Our country's mourning because of the death of Philip.
Yes.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Okay.
I got Sky News on in the background.
There you go. So I have a legitimate question. Because there is all of this hate like circulating around his, I don't know what his official title is, so please excuse my American ignorance, the prince.
The Duke of Edinburgh.
Duke of Edinburgh. Okay.
Yeah.
So I am really confused because when I studied history, he and Churchill and, like, all of these people were very instrumental in defeating the Nazis. I can't say that. I'm so sorry, Father Miller.
Yeah.
Gonna edit that out.
So.
Sorry, but like the Yahtzees, and now people are saying that, like, someone came on my thread, and like a couple of people have done it, and they're like, oh yeah, he's a racist, and he said this, and he's been sexist, and he's just a bad man who was a Yahtzee sympathizer. And I'm like, but he actually like killed them. I'm really confused.
Okay, so you have to understand, right, that he's old school. He came from a time where Britain used to rule Trinidad and the West Indies and stuff like that. So it was very normal to say things like darky, oh, look at that darky down there and stuff like that. So taking it out of context, obviously in those days, his type of people were allowed to say that. They're just repeating stuff that he said in the past. If you want to be part of the Twitter mob, that's what you do. I mean, listen, nobody's without fault. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he wasn't. So, but the thing is, though, he was a decent chap. He basically had charities that helped people with no money, especially teenagers that didn't have anywhere to go. And he's helped a lot of people. So he can't have been that bad, surely.
Yeah.
I just
He was
heard
born
about this yesterday.
I was just gonna say he was.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
Oh no, I was just saying he was born 100 years ago. For crying out loud!
Yeah, he was,
Everybody, by our definition, was racist in the sense of. I mean, the things that even my grandmother terms that she used, and we'd be like, "What's wrong with her?" And my dad was like, "Believe it or not, that's what." In many ways, we were taught to say in the 50s and 60s, and then gradually, it died out, of course, when people realized. But
like even in the 20s, I mean, obviously, like when the Duke was born, it's very, I guess, confusing to me because looking at all the good that he's accomplished in his life, because like I said, we studied him in world history, and I love history, and he never was, at least from what I've read and studied about him. I'm not obviously British, but he was never like openly hostile or disparaging to anyone. He didn't turn anyone away. He was like really sympathetic with these other countries. And I guess he was a big part of the reason why, Churchill had all of this other support, because he was trying to build like pride in the country too. And I just it's just mind blowing to me that it's hilarious because they're like, here's his top 10 most racist quotes. And I'm like, okay, so like, do I bring you his top 10 most non-racist quotes? Like, I don't understand what that has to do.
It's just people these days now. That's how they are. And you know what? I hanker for the 80s and the 90s, me, especially when stuff is happening today and I see things that just don't make any sense. I just wish I can jump in my TARDIS and go back to the 80s and live there. Do you know what I mean? I just seriously, what's happening today does not make any sense to me whatsoever. But hey.
Well, let's just
it doesn't make any sense.
Make an error. But I was just going to play this clip. I saw this for the first time yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Just take the picture.
Wait, what did he say? I'm curious.
Just take the blanking picture.
Picture, yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming it's.
I'm pretty sure every father, like father, husband, but like has said that at some point. Just
of course.
Take the dang picture.
My sister sent me a picture of, I don't know who it was, some old lady on a gate. You know, she was like high up on the gate and it looked like the back of the Queen. It looked like the Queen. And in the brackets, it says, "I know you did it, you bitch." Obviously.
My word.
To me. Yeah. So obviously they're referring to Meghan, I'm assuming, and they say that that made me laugh. But do you know what? Right, that's how cruel people are. You know, the man is just died. You know, and they're sending all these pictures out, and obviously that clip is obviously played to. Well, I don't know if it's for laughs or anything like that. But I remember the days when he used to, respect the dead. Well, you can't respect the dead; they're dead, aren't they? I guess, but that kind of thing. But it's really weird today. Don't you think, guys? It's just weird. Yeah. People are just weird.
Yeah, this whole rest in power thing is like, why?
Blasphemous? Yeah.
Yeah, to say the least. But like, who decided that was a good idea or like something that anybody should want? It's just really confusing. I mean, I know we're all gonna have to like stand in front of the big guy before we get into the pearly gates, and I'm just gonna be like, look, I've made mistakes. I know that I'm wrong, but I really don't want to go down there. So can I please go in there?
The thing is, though, even what you said is wrong. You're not allowed to say him. You have to say it now. Do you know what I mean? It really is. We're living in a weird kind of time.
I
saw a funny meme where they were talking about people were not using his preferred. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that God was making a complaint.
Ooh, she's gone.
Uh oh. At least it's not like last night's stream.
Right? My word.
It
was fun to watch the numbers.
All the F's
dropping.
and all. Yeah.
What stream was this then?
Gary.
What happened to his stream?
Well, so he was on for, what would you say, Father? Maybe 35 minutes? And it started
was complaining about communism, and I did want to talk about that too.
Yeah, he was. So Az got in on a rant because, of course, Star Trek and this whole thing, and then all of a sudden the stream just like died, and we're
really?
What is going on? And so Gary had to send out a second link. He had to like redo everything, and so we get back up, and then for the rest of that second stream, it would be like 7,000 watching, and then it would drop to 3,000, and then the likes would be all the way up to 3,500, and then drop to 2,200, and it did it all night long, and it's insane. Wow. And YouTube's official response was that it's completely normal because they are monitoring interaction and taking away like bot and troll likes and views, and I'm like, no, it's not.
Makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Zero sense.
See, it's really funny because money always root of evil, as they say. Money always trumps all. And I'm telling you, one day, I don't know who it's going to be. It's probably going to be Disney. They're going to buy out YouTube, and then there'll be no free speech.
Google already owns them.
Well, yeah, Google, but I reckon Disney's going to buy Google. And then
then they'll try and infect YouTube with their Disney virus and nothing. And as we've seen, anything that Disney acquires rots from the inside out.
Yeah.
But I think what was really surprising last night, especially was, I don't know if you guys have seen some of the articles that have come up, but they are now openly advocating taking the blood of young children for anti-aging purposes.
Yeah, I saw that.
And and last night YouTube just came right out and said that yes, they they monitor interactions and they try and take away bot likes and views. And so now we're shifting to this position of everybody knows but nobody says it out loud, to now they're saying it out loud. And that's truly terrifying, that they are so confident and so assured of themselves that they fear no repercussions for stating these things. And yeah, it's just really, really terrifying. And I think, I would, yeah, God.
Babylon B again.
Oh, okay, that's not a real headline.
No, that's Babylon B.
I was like, yeah, okay.
At this point, you don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Like not even a little bit. I'm just. Father, did you see that article? Or it was a post that I shared, but apparently, the left is now concerned because the right, and this was the structure of the statement. I think it's just sane people versus insane people, but the left is apparently concerned because the right is having more children than them. And they're noticing that after college, a lot of people are abandoning these leftist ideology points.
Well, if they wouldn't kill their children.
That's what I said. I was like, if the left was so concerned about it, maybe they should stop murdering 62 million babies a year in the womb. Just a thought.
Yeah, that's a start.
And you know what the most disgusting... This person... I've blocked them. I could probably find the thread again if I really wanted to, but I don't, because it was just pure evil. Someone, because I shared a pro-life post, and they came back at me and they said, do you realize that without abortion, the world would be even closer to overpopulation? And I said, what is wrong with you?
No,
I was like, humans have always adapted. I said, their innovation will always win out. Human innovation will always win out. You are talking about an economic theory that has been debunked several times. And this dude came back at me, and I'm about to say something on here that I'm sure will get taken way out of context, but this is what this dude said. He was like, yeah, it was the one good thing about, he said his name, about Stash Man. He was like, can you imagine if those 8 million people had babies? And then I was like, I cannot believe you just said that out.
Why have a conversation with him, though? Why have a conversation with him?
Hi, Jen. See, this was I had only been on Twitter for like a few weeks at that point, so I've only been on Twitter for like just over a year, and yeah, it was it was interesting. I shared a pro-life post, and he asked a question. He said, something to the effect, I can't remember it exactly, but it was something to the effect of, why are you pro-life? And I said, well, I cherish innocent lives, innocent human beings. These children have done nothing wrong. And then he just came out the gate of like just pure evil coming out of this dude's mouth. And yeah, I was like,
there's
we're
a block
done.
switch. There's a switch where you can block him.
And that's exactly what happened. I was like,
just block him.
It takes a while to learn these things, but isn't it interesting, though, that they are slowly abandoning the lie about it being, my body, my choice, my, if you don't want an abortion, don't get one. Those were the slogans when I was being raised. Now it's like, no, abortion is a good to eliminate unwanted. Their mask is coming off because the eugenics movement was huge behind those. It's like in Planned Parenthood, that their reasons were eugenicist, and they're just not even pretending anymore.
Yeah.
No. That's what I'm saying. That's what you dropped out for a minute, but that's what I said. The fact that they can openly say these things now, and they don't have to hide, like the young blood from Hollywood, doing de-age, like having the de-aging code unlocked, and like you just said about abortion, like they are no longer trying to hide their true intentions, and that's terrifying.
Could it be Satan? Because isn't that a very blasphemous take on the blood of Christ?
Oh yeah.
Blood of Christ.
I think we lost her again.
Yeah, we might have done. Yeah, she's got a bad connection.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I hate it.
there she
I
is.
don't. This only happens on streams that I really want to be. I was just talking about blast. You know what? Satan's interfering because I was saying it was Satan because it is a blasphemous take on the blood of Christ, giving you new life, giving you eternal life. And there was actually a serial killer in the 1600s in Hungary or one of those places in Eastern Europe, and she would actually kill her little servants because no one would miss them and bathe in their blood for trying to get eternal life. She's one of the first, one of the known serial killers, the Countess of Blood. I forget her name, but to me, it is, they are taking the sacraments and twisting them. Very evil.
Well, that's, so what's really interesting is stuff keeps happening. And so I keep adding stuff to my video. I have a video coming out because I was actually recording a different video and I said something and like a light went on in my head and I was like, oh my God. So I went and made this other video about that line and you can hear it in my voice when I'm like, oh my God, you're not a social justice warrior. You're this. And I was like, I have no idea why no one else has said it yet or realized it yet or what it may be. But in there, it's literally like when you take your vices and you hide them behind virtues, you are exactly what you claim to hate. And you are taking advantage of these people who genuinely experience this or genuinely feel this. I mean, the big thing that I hit on, because it's the first one that was really like spoken out loud, was the whole body positivity movement got hijacked by lazy, overweight individuals who didn't want to put the work in to be healthy. And what the body positivity movement was supposed to be was amputees and burn victims and, quadriplegics, people who had truly debilitating and often painful, because like when you get burned, especially like 3rd and 2nd degree burns, it hurts for the rest of your life.
Yes.
That piece of skin feels like it is on fire for the rest of your life. And that's what this whole thing was about, was to accept these people, not shun them, don't look at them differently, don't treat them differently, but be aware that they may have certain limitations that, maybe I'm sure they don't want to go sunbathing on the beach with you if they feel like they're on fire all the time, kind of type thing, That got hijacked by these people, specifically women. And this tells you just how vain these women are. They want to be not just accepted, they want to be worshipped. They want to be loved, adored, but mostly worshipped for exactly how they are without having to do any self-improvement or work at all. And then it was, you're fat shaming me. You don't love me for who I am. Like, skinny isn't pretty. And it's like, well, really what it should say is skinny isn't healthy. Skinny doesn't equal healthy. Fat doesn't equal healthy. Healthy equals healthy. Because you've got people on the other end of the spectrum who suffer from bulimia and anorexia and other eating disorders. And there are women who give themselves tapeworms because they think it'll help them stay skinny. It's insane. And so, it's
two sides.
People,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, it's two sides of the coin of body worshiping, the fat and the thin, and oh yeah, this is very toxic. But I mean, they take a good. For example, don't be making fun of people. I mean, it is not kind to make fun of fat people and all that, because it's not fun to make fun of anybody or to demean somebody. And that is a good in the sense of, come on, don't be mean. They take that goodwill and turn it into, no, but it is actually a good thing. It is a great thing. This is healthy. Everyone knows it's not healthy.
Yep.
And then you see this among the teens. Oh my gosh, it is epidemic, where they, like you said, are doing all of those things. They're taking laxatives, and not very far from that is then you'll see them start to self-harm, cutting themselves. They hate their bodies.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize that suffering is part of growth. So if you are fat, or if you are too skinny and people take the mickey out of you, it's a test, really. When you look at it very carefully, it's a test to show how strong you could be to actually come through that and respect yourself for who you are. And a lot of people don't understand that life is about suffering. The only way you can enjoy life is to go through the suffering, and it'll never stop until you die. But that's the whole point of life, isn't it? There's no finishing line in life, only when you die, I guess. It's always accomplishing something, and then accomplishing another thing, and then another thing, and then another thing, and that's what life's all about. So I don't understand this whole idea of what you've just said about people that are overweight and stuff like that, and trying to make out that they're beautiful, or that they have to accept them for who they are, blah, blah, blah. I don't understand this at all. I don't understand why people just don't get that suffering is part of life, and the only way you're going to grow is to go through it. I don't understand it at all.
I gotta say, this is a bunch of bull here.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
And it would be the same. And like, I saw comments on this, and they were like, "Oh, I bet if she was skinny, you wouldn't say that." And I said, if I can see her clavicles and I can count her ribs, that's not healthy either. Like,
exactly.
there is this I don't know what else to say it, but how else to really put this, but you can either have reflection or you can have projection. And that's really what that comes down to. You can either reflect on yourself, know where your strengths are, and continue to, lean on those and work on those, and then know what your weaknesses are and try to improve yourself. Because if you do nothing else in this life except improve who you are today from who you were yesterday, then you have succeeded. But like you said, Mega, just to be like constantly pushed down by other people's opinions of you, or other people's thoughts of you, or even your own self-doubts, and to not want to deal with it, and because you don't want to suffer, you're just extending.
That's right.
Extending the suffering period, and you'll never overcome it. And so you'll remain in this depressive state. Oh, and by the way, did you guys know that depression is trendy now?
Imagine that.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
No, I kid thee not. I put it on my timeline too, but this girl was literally like, she put on there, she was like, if you don't have fruit flies in your room, you're not really that depressed. Like, this girl was living in trash, and there were fruit flies in her bedroom. And I'm like, what? Like, that's unsanitary for one, but two, when did showing off how depressed you could be become trendy?
It's really odd how people are just trying to make their lies and their reality a reality, if you know what I mean. It's weird, isn't it? Don't you think that's weird?
Narcissism is epidemic right now.
Yeah.
Shaved.
Hello, Father Sinatra.
Yeah, we got another father.
He
Hello.
shaved.
Yes, I did.
But
Was it-
I was going to play this. I don't know if you ever seen the Trigglypuff videos from
Yes.
Steven Crowder.
Yes.
I mean, okay, profanity warning probably if this is what.
You're not welcome here! Stop talking to us like children!
Keep your hate speech out of this campus!
Keep your hate speech out of this campus! Keep your hate speech out of this campus! Keep your hate speech.
Yes.
Well, such a lack of dignity. Oh my gosh. I don't care what a person looks like. If you go and do that, you're a fool.
Yeah. But this I hate admitting that I am a millennial. I reject that title.
No, look, you're not a millennial. You're just a human being. We were just born in different times. That's it. I hate all these labels. Just stop with the labels. You know what I mean?
And I was listening to the Word on Fire Institute. They're doing a thing on nuns and those, like the sociology of those with no religious affiliation whatsoever. And the professor who's giving the talk says, remember that things like millennial or baby boomer or Gen Xer or whatever just talks about the time period in which one has been born. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else, pejorative or something else that you can read into that.
Yeah,
So
in the
if
old
you're a
days,
It just shows
Sorry.
when you were born. That's it. That's
Exactly. In the old days, he used to say, yeah, he was born in the 50s. You know, yeah, he was born in, you know what I mean? And now it's got all these labels. What's that all about? It's just.
It has to do with the narcissism and the obsession with wanting to label almost superstition, fathers. I mean, maybe you can correct me on this, but in the part of the catechism where they talk about superstition and why things like, you know, tarot cards and all of that is wrong, is because it shows an unhealthy obsession with trying to control the future, if you will. And I would maybe add to that, control what you cannot control. And what ends up happening is you start worshiping everything except God.
See, I always tell people when they ask me, I'm like, I'm a Gen Y, because there is a big, like, I've noticed a difference in the value system. I know, Mega, but you have to realize that when you're talking to people in my age bracket, this is what they hyper focus on, is the labels. So if you want to talk to them, you have to speak in such a way that is going to make sense.
You're playing into their game. That's what you're doing.
Yes, but it makes you got to play the game to beat the game. And so when I tell them that I'm Gen
that's
Y,
not true.
When I tell them I'm Gen Y and not a millennial, they're like, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, I value hard work, ethics, morality, loyalty, and, you know, as a very strong traditional family unit." And they're like, "Ugh, you're so problematic. You have internalized misogyny." Like, that's always their go-to. The first time I heard that, I actually went and asked the F&T group. I said, "What is internalized misogyny?" And they're like, basically, they're telling you that you are oppressing yourself through the patriarchy because you were told to. And I was like, that's the most
patriarchy.
ridiculous.
Do you know what, right? This logic is like the Joker. You know the joke, Batman's Joker? Batman, the idea of the Joker is that there's no rules. You know, rules are just for people, insane people. The way he sees it, he's not the one that's insane. Society is the one that's insane with all their rules and stuff like that. And that's exactly what it sounds like. Someone that's absolutely crazy. They're absolutely crazy.
Lady Gravemaster, know your terms. Don't play the game, but know your terms.
Yeah.
You know, those are the thing. Trust me, the church has gotten into enough trouble playing games. That's enough. We're done with that.
True. Tell me
Well,
that.
speaking of boomers, I was gonna say Gary showed the StreamYard link last night again, and I am going to, one of these days, I'm going to rewind it and put it into the browser.
Oh no!
Be like, hey, if you don't,
Surprised with 7,000 people watching, nobody's done that, or maybe they have. I don't know.
Yeah, he's probably likely just ignored them. Because that's what he said he would do. Like the third time he did that, he was like, "Well, if anybody hops backstage, I'll just ignore them because I can do that." So I'm sure someone did it and he just ignores them.
Yeah, but you get to see the private chat then.
Yeah.
Not if he leaves you. Not if he kicks you from backstage, because you can kick him.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, Gary is.
Well, I've been around long enough now. I mean, what?
I said Gary is a light. He is just. He brings so much joy.
I really, I really am looking forward to Vegas. I mean,
he looks very tall.
We know the truth,
Not as
Father.
tall as
You were just looking
Ryan.
forward to blackjack.
That's right.
I don't know how to play.
He's gone down there for sin. That's what he's gone down there for.
I'll teach
He's
you,
going
Father.
down
I'll
there.
check my game.
I was talking to Dollified. I can't remember his name, but with Bounding into Comics, and John, as you probably know, wasn't able to make it today. But he's looking to stay at one of the cheaper hotels, which I am too. So right now I'm looking at the Four Queens because there's no resort fee. But it's during the Star Trek convention, and I was just looking at the guest list today. It's like, I don't think I'm even going to go to it.
Yeah.
Is it, so they're allowed to do conventions now? Is there a lot of people, and they're not worried about spreading the...
Well, it's going to be in August, so I mean, we got 4 months before this.
San Diego Comic-Con is still virtual this year, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's weird.
They're going
San
virtual
Diego,
again.
when I was stationed out there,
California.
you saw, when I was stationed out there, I saw a drastic decline from the first year I went to the third year that I went. It was just the first year I went, it was like about the costumes and the fans and the independent like merchandise and comics and everything like that. And then like the third year I went, it was all really commercial. Like the booths that you had were very much like commercial, professional, Hollywood trying to
That's what happens,
gut you
though,
for.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Lady, that's what happens with something that, I mean, they started in their garage as I believe the very first one in their garage, and then it just grew and grew and grew, and now you know, things like this always grow. When something grows, it's always money that takes over, and suddenly you're in a different realm.
Well,
Do you know what I mean?
Seems it's become more focused on TV than comics.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
And
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, there was a time. I mean, up until a few years ago,
TV
I
and
really,
movies.
really wanted to go to this thing, but now I don't think I want to spend the money because I could go to Rome for cheaper.
Well, you have to go at least once.
Yeah,
I've
you do.
gone, I've gone about 4 or 5 times to Comic-Con. And the thing that annoys me, first and foremost, Comic-Con has become very preachy. And with the things that we're always complaining about. And I just want to be a nerd and a geek for like a week. Can I just do that, please?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And finally, the other thing is, and the thing that really horks me off more than anything else, is that people come in and their sole purpose is to make money off of it. And what they'll do is they'll be in line and they'll go and they'll grab stuff from Hall H, or they'll go and get they'll wait in line first thing, get everything that they want. All the specialty stuff that there's only limited editions of for Comic-Con. And then immediately that afternoon, it's online to be sold on eBay for like 3 times the amount. All I wanted was a He-Man and a Prince Adam made in the old style. They were selling them. They were going to be $40. I tried for 4 days to get in line to get in them. I looked online. They $40 for Prince Adam, He-Man's 40th anniversary He-Man. Thinking that's my cartoon growing up. Like, love it. And it's online for $125.
I know, it's crazy.
And then what I did was I'm like, you know what? Can't beat them. Join them. So that very last day, I went and I bought a deck of Magic cards that I spent like $90 on, and then I flipped it. Then I made what, $20-$30, but I'm just thinking this is, because like I just get so annoyed. Like all I wanted, right? Because I'm a fan, and yet somebody's trying to monetize that, and they only go. And I see these guys, and I'm sure it's a huge racket. I sat down, and they have like this big open air kind of room, like a hall. That people can sit down and, when you go get some autographs, they have some autographs up there. And there was a guy who had 4 of them. It took every ounce of self-control in my whole entire body. And my friend Ernie, he's like, well, why don't you ask if you can buy one? I'm like, I am not going to lower myself. If anything, I'm going to leap across that table and strangle him where he sits.
Well, it's all changed, isn't it? It's changed, isn't it? I mean, when I first went, I'd never been to Comic-Con, but they had loads in London and in England. When I first went, yeah, you're right, Father. It was all about the dressing of the costume. It was all about being a geek. And look, you guys must remember the time when real geeks existed.
Oh, we
most
still
people,
do. It's 'cause we're in hiding.
Well, of course we do. We're in hiding now. But I used to feel very unique when I was at school that I was a geek and nobody understood what that meant. Right. Now everyone's a geek. Do you know what I mean? It's just destroyed the whole object of being it.
Yeah, it's trendy now.
Yeah.
And I remember I was relentlessly teased and I was relentlessly mocked. And, and I loved, so like my thing was, literature. I love Twain and Austen and Tolkien and Lewis. Like I love stories. I love books. And, you know, I go back to Shakespeare and I'd be like, oh my goodness, like just how he worked different ways of saying things was just incredible. Like he was just a true wordsmith. And you go back to Plato and Aristotle and Socrates and all of these brilliant men and women that came before. And, you know, it's so hard to not fall in love with it for me. And so, growing up, so people would be like, kitty, pet the cat on the street. But yeah, no, you know, so someone told me one time, they said that if I wanted to be liked more, then I should use different words. I should use less big words because you know, then people would probably like me more. And I said, but that's how I speak. That's just how I am. And they were like, well, you know, if you change it about yourself, then people will like you more. And I said, well, then maybe I don't want those people to like me. And that was like my first instance of, I like this about myself. I enjoy reading. I enjoy researching words and learning their roots and where they come from. And that's something that I really love. And I'm not going to give that up because I want other people to like me. And I ended up finding really good friends who liked how I was the way I was. But then, you know, also told me when I was being an idiot. So that's good too. Honesty among friends is important.
So I was going to play this. I did a stream with the rabbi yesterday, and I played this trailer for him of a show I just bought. Oh, it's been fun. It's been fun. But this was a show I don't remember, and I just came across recently, bought it on the DVD, and loved it. And it has Christopher Lloyd in it.
What show's this? Deadly Games?
Now, it's totally 90s.
Never seen this before.
Well, like I said, I just discovered it recently.
All right. Oh, it looks really 80s, straight 90s. Yeah.
Nice. I love it.
It has a very, like, MacGyverish feel to it.
Yes.
But Christopher Lloyd is just perfect in this. I mean, he plays the bad guy.
Excellent.
Of course he does.
I love that suit of his.
Now the question becomes: are you going
basically, what it is the main guy developed a video game because he's getting divorced from his wife, so he put all the bad people that was involved in the divorce as villains in the game, and the game comes to life.
Wow.
Huh.
It only lasted one season.
Oh, wow, what a surprise.
I don't remember it at all.
Now you can tell that was somebody who was very, very bitter about their own divorce that wrote that.
It's worse than Manimal. Remember Manimal? Jesus.
Oh, Manimal was awesome. I remember Manimal.
Really?
We just talked about that was the great copyright strike episode, right?
Oh, was it? 8 episodes. It only lasts 4. Manimal. 8 episodes. That was it. That's how bad it was. They took it off.
No, but I think we were showing a bunch of them, and it wasn't Manimal that got the strike.
Strike. It wasn't a strike. It was just basically a copyright claim.
Oh,
okay.
I see.
Which one? It was for that the car, right? The person who turned into a car.
That was Automan.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh! I never heard of that.
That's how geeky I am. Automan. Automan's great.
Well, I was going to say it's not My Mother the Car.
No, not that one. No, that's what was that? The 40s, the 50s? What was that one?
60s.
60s. All right, here we go. Yeah, but you know, I used to love shows like that. That Knight Rider and Airwolf.
Love Street Hawk.
Street Hawk. Yeah. There were shows I grew up with.
I won't play the trailer, but this is
Automan.
Oh my god.
Oh, it was bad.
I don't know about you guys, but it used to be played at 6, 7 o'clock on Saturdays over here. Those kind of shows. So
my Mother the Car was rated one of the worst rated television shows in US history.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, though, I think Batwoman would get a run for its money.
Yeah, definitely.
So because I love Az, because I love Az, and I want to support his slow descent into madness as he reviews
He's already there, mate.
Batwoman.
Already there.
Like he's and I was like, okay, I'm over at a friend's house. They have DirecTV or whatever it is. I said, let's go ahead, let's watch an episode of this, because why not? The amount of hatred on that screen for their audience is so palpable that I don't know how anyone can watch that and feel anything except hurt, anger, or a mix of both, because it's insulting to everyone. It insults it insults everybody. It insults intelligent people, it insults stupid people, it insults any and all races, it insults it insults men, it insults women, it insults the whole shebang. And what's hilarious is I think these people think they are actually writing something more profound than it actually is. They think that this is going to be like some kind of trailblazing show. And I'm just sitting here like, Star Trek had an on-screen interracial kiss decades ago. That seems a bit more, of a trailblazing moment, because Batwoman has gotten to the point where it's just gratuitous amounts of self-indulgence and pity. And it's just not good. It's not even...
I'm going to be misogynist here.
Uh-oh.
Yay!
Batgirl. I like Batgirl. When I used to read her
But
comics a long time
read the
ago.
cover.
What's it say? Batgirl, get over here. Help us. We've got a problem. I have a bigger problem. I have a run in my tights.
That's hilarious.
Terrible.
Hey, there is truth in that. There is
is?
truth in that. If you've ever worn those, yes, that is a real big problem.
It is. First of all, you look ridiculous, and second of all, it's uncomfortable. It truly is.
Yes, Snartapoopus. That's very true.
Oh my
Because
God.
he was wondering...
Oh no.
That's why I chose Nerd Father, because I'm a priest, I'm a nerd. But I did go
Your intro
nuts.
is
I think
epic.
if you saw... I'm trying to find my receipt. I went a little
Wait.
nuts at the comic book store.
Didn't you
last
get?
week.
Hey, didn't you find while you're digging around? I'm going to completely distract you. Didn't you
That's
get
fine.
Action Comics #1? Didn't you find it at a garage sale? or something?
No,
Oh.
that would be a
I
lot
saw
of
that
money.
there's one for sale that went for like
$3.25 million.
Went for $3.8 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the auction.
And it's like
I
it's
was
like an 8 point.
yeah, and I was
Because it's so rare. It's just so
I was
rare.
like, oh my god, I have to re-ask, because I knew you found an Action Comic one, but I couldn't remember what it was. And I was like,
I don't think they're
bought
stipend,
I did buy a bunch of Action
that high.
Comics, but those
Yeah.
were more from the. Oh, there it is.
okay.
I'm
You
gonna
know what?
cover up the.
I'm so
amount.
happy to find two priests that are geeky. In my congregation,
not
priests
crazy.
are very straight, very straight. I don't see any priests
That's all the
reading
comics I
and
bought
stuff.
at the sale recently.
wow,
I think it's really cool.
that's- Remember, the
Well, Ian,
first
'cause
part
they're
of healing
English.
is recognizing
I
that you
know.
have a problem, Father.
Yes.
Hey, it was half off. It was half off day.
Oh.
So the
I
best
mean,
part was
so-
St.
Really?
Francis is disapproving from heaven.
I picked up a bunch of comics from the 60s and 70s that were going for $8 for less than a new comic book today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You've got
Oh,
a
half
problem.
price books is one of the best places ever. And I find stuff at garage sales all the time too.
Yeah,
Dustin,
collectibles.
if you want to
Yeah,
join us, you're more than welcome.
collectibles have risen tenfold because the stuff that's being produced today is absolute trash.
Rubbish.
Nobody
Yeah.
wants
Garbage.
it. Nobody. It doesn't entertain. It doesn't excite. It doesn't lead to any type of escapism. It is preachy, one-sided,
ya.
heavy-handed, self-righteous nonsense. And I think people forget the reason that Action Comic went for 3.8 million is because of us. It's because of real nerds and real geeks and real people who love comics, and they love these IPs. They love Batman. They love Superman. They love, Spider-Man. Because if we're going to be honest, Iron Man was a C character for Marvel, the fact that they were able to turn Iron Man into something more than a C-level character and make him really the flagship character of Marvel is truly shocking, because everybody knows that Spider-Man and probably Captain America and Thor were their big three.
Well, they couldn't, could they? Because they didn't own the rights to Spider-Man at that moment in time. But Iron Man, let's face it, right? When it was a good move to put Iron Man first, because his costume's so cool, and when you see it in real, as a real thing, it is really cool, especially the red and the gold and stuff. So it in my opinion, it was always going to work, because you could sell toys off that. You can, it was a really cool movie. I mean, the movie was okay in my opinion. It wasn't great, but it was okay. So, and Robbie Downey Jr. made that film because obviously he was ad-libbing all the way through. So that's why it worked.
That totally reinvented him.
Yeah, it did.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, and people they're so quick to dismiss collectors and stuff like that, because they're like, well, you're just weird, or you're like, it's very much, these same people who mocked and belittled me when I was, growing up are now the same people who are like, well, if you haven't seen, if you didn't think Endgame was better than Infinity War, you don't know what you're talking about. And Captain Marvel is amazing. And you're like, no, it's not. Go away.
That's when you break out the classic line, kid. I was a nerd before it was cool. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's true.
I was going to share this with Gary. I might do it on the member stream tomorrow. I came across this the other day because Preview World is what I subscribe to, so I could pre-order my comics through. And I mean, they talked about toxic fandom. And they actually, what drew me to it was fandom menace. That's the first time I've really seen it used outside of our community.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, those are people that are trying to get attention because no one even knows who they are. And then they say, oh, this is how you do it. And then hopefully people will make videos about me. It's
And along with this, I got to say, I have no desire whatsoever to see Ironheart.
Nor do I.
Oh, heck no.
Female Iron
Do you
Man.
know, they're going to try their best
Just
to
as
try
much
and
as,
move
and
forward.
I loved your tweet, lady.
About?
I have no desire to see Indiana Jones.
No.
But that's why Spielberg
the guy's
bailed,
78
right?
years old.
Yeah, but that's why Spielberg bailed, because it was taken over by Disney, and well, there's a rumor that he didn't like what they were saying about it, so he bailed. And it's, as I keep saying, it's really strange how Spielberg and Scorsese and the rest of them are not coming out and fighting against this stupid tone that Hollywood is adopting, because they're very powerful people. They own billions,
But
they don't
Spielberg would be
care.
speaking out against his own daughter at that point. Like, that's...
Well, what's his daughter said?
Oh, no. Hold on. I'll be right back, and then Father can share. 1 second.
I was just going to say, didn't Kathleen Kennedy have a role in producing those films?
She did, but she didn't really produce them. See, that was the thing. This is the mistake that people keep making. She produced just by association with her husband and with Spielberg and Lucas. So she was part of that gang. Do you know what I mean? So that's the thing. She's, by reputation alone, she's built up. By hardly doing anything, she's built up a reputation.
It was always seen with like Spielberg, the Back to the Future movies and all that.
Yeah. So, Father, I have it shared. I shared my screen.
Okay, I see it.
It's
Oh dear, I did see that.
Yeah.
What's this? Spielberg's daughter she's doing porn?
Yeah.
Why?
And it's a healing journey.
Oh my.
She said that from my understanding, and I will take this off because we don't need that up on the screen.
I was gonna say
No.
Well, it's one of the things I was going to kid about. Did we lose somebody?
Yeah,
I think
she
we
went.
lost a lady.
I think she pressed the wrong switch.
Oh, when she stopped sharing, she yeeted herself.
I know she said she had to go to a birthday party too.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
But no, I was going to say.
Oh my gosh! There she is.
Boomer.
I did.
She pulled a neurotic.
I did. I pushed the red X. Anyway, from my understanding, the whole deal about it being a healing journey and whatnot, I guess she never really felt like she'd be able to step out of her father's shadow, and she felt very oppressed by the patriarchy, and all of that. And so this was her healing journey, was like taking control of her body in a way that she could be proud of, is what she said.
You know what? To use an English word, that's complete bollocks. It really is. She is so screwed up. She really is screwed up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no excuse for Spielberg or the rest of the heavy hitters that owns billions not to speak out against this stupid tone that Hollywood's adopted and the rest of entertainment.
Well, and see,
It's
but
no
she's
excuse.
a big proponent. She's a huge spokesperson for all of this. So
Doesn't matter. Spielberg
if he
obviously
came out-
disagrees. He
Yes, but
disagrees
if
with
he,
this whole tone.
but he won't say that out
But
loud.
he should.
because
He should.
I don't disagree with you, but a father's love for his daughter is a very, very powerful thing, and I think that he is content enough with his career, and he is content enough with the billions that he has made and the mark that he will leave on cinema. That he doesn't feel.
Listen to what you're saying, right? You're saying that if you have a daughter and your daughter's really stupid and she's doing stupid things and things you disagree, you won't try and make her see reason. You won't try and fight against.
Oh
her
no,
to make
no,
her
she's
better.
not saying that. She's not
on.
saying
No.
that, Ian. Not at all. No.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is Spielberg finds himself in a position. She's one of these woke people. They have cut family members out, and I doubt that Spielberg wants to be completely cut out of his daughter's life. He's what I think is, as a parent, what I think is happening is he is choosing his battles. He doesn't want to be completely cut out. He's going to try and guide her away from this as best as he can without being direct, because it's if you do not completely 100% approve of what these people do, they will cut you out completely. And I think that he recognized that would do more harm than biding his time to where she can kind of come to these realizations on her own.
Wow, that's
and also
crazy.
don't underestimate the fact that a lot of these gentlemen, a lot of these power players, they are at the end of their lives. They're getting towards the end of their lives. And you look at George Lucas, where he has, children, he has a new marriage, a child, and they genuinely are looking at all this and saying, I've done my part. I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you see George Lucas and they bring up Star Wars, he's like, it's not my Star Wars anymore. Goodbye. He's done. We, in our fantasy, if you will, imagine, they're going to come in, they're against it all, but they're done with it and they're doing just fine. They have washed their hands of it all.
Well, that's horrible if that's the case. Those two powerhouse filmmakers.
Oh yeah.
If they don't stand up for what is right, then what kind of a people are they? That's all I can say. Because if I tell you one thing, right? If I'd said all that nonsense and my dad was still alive, my dad would just stand and he will tell you exactly what he thinks, and he'll say, if you don't like it, you don't want to be in my world, fine, but you will find reason one day and you will come and talk to me one day. My dad was strong that way, and it's a shame people are not like that today. They really are not like that.
I think what's very telling, Mega, if you have you seen, Ian, the clip of the girl who was like, my grandpa was watching a sexist movie and I told him it was sexist.
Yeah, I saw it.
And he kicked her out of the house. Like,
I saw it,
do you have any idea? So many people cheered for that, because that's not something that a lot of parents or grandparents are willing to do, because they have this tough love is not a thing. Like, I grew up with tough love. And I found out a lot of stuff the hard way because I simply didn't listen to my parents. I was like, Fourth Commandment was not high on my list for some reason. And, I was like, my mom, she told me that we were at the park, and the boys had built this ramp to shoot their bicycles off of, and then they jump off the bike and land in the river, right? And I was like, I'm going to do that. And she's like, those boys are 10 years older than you. They know how to do this. You just got your training wheels off like a year ago. Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. And she's like, you're going to get hurt. Well, I mean, I got done with school. I came home, I grabbed my bike, and I went to go jump off of this, dirt ramp that they had built. And I am still shocked to this day I'm not dead because of that. And I came home, my
Your
bike
guardian
was
angel was working overtime.
That's right.
way
Yeah.
over time. And I like bring the bike home and it's all bent and just horribly busted up. And I'm like crying, my skin and my knees and my elbow. Like I'm bloody everywhere. I've got road rash like nobody's business. And I walk in the house crying. And my mom's like, you jumped that ramp, didn't you? And I said, yes. And she's like, then you have nothing to cry about because I told you what would happen. Go clean yourself up. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. She's
that's what I'm
like,
saying.
I'm sure you are now. Like, yeah, it's but parents don't do that anymore. They don't let their kids
They still do.
they don't let their kids get road rash. That's the
No.
problem.
I know 50 parents that do that. It's just I know a lot of people that still do that. Right? And it's the right thing to do with love. It's the right thing to do with love. Tough love is something that everyone should experience because it makes you a better person, right? If you are sane. Obviously, if you're mental, it's not going to work on you. But if you have common sense and you could see your parents literally loves you, and this is the reason why they do it, you never get it when you're young. But when you get older, you realize that's what they're doing. And you'll come to, I'm telling you, this is, it's not a horrible thing to do to your kid as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, you know, and your parent, your mother, she told you, but you just went and did it anyway. But then again, that's part of learning, right?
Because we always think we know better than our parents. No,
we don't. We never do.
No, because that's the same thing you were talking about earlier, Ian, because people don't want to suffer. They don't, if you grow, in order to grow, you have to suffer. You have to go through challenges. You have to overcome. And these people don't want to do that. So instead, they take the exact opposite route and they refuse and reject any and all knowledge that would challenge their views or their world point or cause them to grow in any such way, because it might mean that they were wrong. And that's the other issue with today's world. You know, like Teresa was saying, it has come to the point, like the amount of pride and ego and narcissism, people cannot be wrong anymore.
They can, and they are. Nature will sort them out.
I don't disagree. I'm really hoping that this idea that you can't ever be wrong passes really quickly, because it's going to hurt a lot more people than it is ever going to help.
I want to just divert slightly and ask the two fathers here, right? What kind of person are you when you on the pulpit and you're preaching? Because the reason why I asked this question is I know this priest in Canada, okay, cool, and he's like fire and brimstone when it comes to preaching, right? I remember I was there visiting my brother in Toronto at Christmas time.
I would say watch my live stream.
Yeah, no, I have watched your live stream, but you're not.
That should tell you what type I am.
I'm just, from your point of view, obviously, I wanted to hear. But I'll just finish this story. Basically, I went, it was Christmas time, and I visited my brother in Toronto, and he was preaching. It was the midnight mass. And he was literally saying, "You didn't go to confession? What is wrong with you people?" Do you know what I mean? He was literally having a go. He's like, you know, it was like, if it just shot this horrible thing through me, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, whatever. So the question I want to ask you guys is, do you think that's the right thing, or do you think you should find the middle, or or should you scare people into doing the right thing? I don't know.
Carefully.
You have to tread very, very carefully.
All right, okay. Well, he didn't.
Well, because what happens is that Christmas and Easter, right, are the like prime times of getting folks that you don't get a chance to see every once in a while.
Sure.
You know? That they might have been cajoled by their parents or their grandparents, like, come to church, or you're not staying for Christmas dinner or Easter or whatever.
Yeah.
And you take the opportunity to preach to them and to say, hey, you know what? That guy, he's not so bad. Maybe I can come back.
Yeah.
And you still can preach the truth with the whole concept of preaching it with love. And to scare somebody out of their minds is not an effective preaching tool. You can challenge.
For that.
You can challenge out of love. You can challenge out of love, and you can say the right things. Like, I know tons of guys that say the right things in absolutely the worst way possible. Right? There is a way of doing that. So
my dad.
you have to be balanced. You
Yeah,
have to be
prudence is a virtue. Prudence is a
Yeah.
virtue.
And to
Well, it
remember
just
that.
made me.
Go ahead, Father. Well, I was just going to say sorry. I was just going to finish up in saying that remember that the people in the pews aren't the only sinners in church. The guy behind the pulpit is too.
Very
Well,
good
I mean,
point.
this weekend is Divine Mercy Sunday. I'm going to be preaching to myself on that, talking about the mercy of God and the need to go to confession. But it made me think of this quote that I saw yesterday. I love this blog. I'd never heard of it till yesterday. Theist Thug Life. But you guys know who Dietrich Bonhoeffer was, right? I know Father would.
No.
Bonhoeffer was part of the plot to kill Hitler. He was, I think, a Lutheran pastor, and he was executed by the Germans. I'll just say it that way. Don't mention the war. I think I did it once. No, Lady Greenmaster did it once, but she got away with it.
I edited myself. I said Stash Man. I said Stash
Well,
Man.
that's Faulty Towers quote. But love Faulty Towers. But he talked about why the madman came to power was because of cheap grace. And his quote was, "Cheap grace is the preaching of forgiveness without requiring repentance, baptism without church discipline, communion without confession, absolution without personal confession. Cheap grace is grace without discipleship." And I got to click on see more. Grace without Jesus Christ. And
The
we gotta-
gospel
I mean,
of
the thing is-
prosperity.
Yeah. Oh, I know what I need to play for you. One of my favorite nuts is Joel Osteen.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, but you're gonna love this.
Joel Osteen.
Health and wealth
The
gospel.
theology of Calvin and the thirst of Luther.
A lot of people mentioned this.
Let's see.
Oh boy.
Okay, hold on. Okay, let me click off the mute. Let me. You can probably see what the title is.
Right.
I gotta hit the. I gotta reshare this with the audio.
I was able to hear it.
I could hear it.
I could
Oh,
hear
okay.
it as
I'm
well.
sorry. I guess I forgot to. Okay,
He
here we go.
overboomered it.
A sort of quiz, if you will, on Challies.com called Joel Osteen or Fortune Cookie.
Oh no.
Yeah, he has 12 questions here, and the way it works is that he didn't have like a
Joel Osteen or Fortune.
yeah. He didn't have any kind of way to set it up like a quiz or anything, so you just highlight it. So we can actually go back and forth on this. And there's 12 questions, and I think that we should try to only do 6 and then save 6, and we can play this again.
I love it.
Another day in the future.
Let's do this.
So first one I'll throw to you. We'll go back and forth for 6 questions. Question 1. So is this Joel Osteen or something written inside a fortune cookie? Happiness is not the absence of conflict, but the ability to cope with it. Is that Joel Osteen or a fortune cookie?
I'll say Joel Osteen.
Fortune cookie.
Fortune cookie.
Highlight it here. It's a fortune cookie. It's not Joel Osteen. 1 for less. Question 2. Do all you can to make your dreams come true. I'm going to say Joel Osteen.
Olstein.
That's Osteen.
Olstein.
That's Joel Osteen. 1 for less. This is to you, Tanner. Take time to make a difference. Think about how you can make somebody else's life better. Is that Joel Osteen?
Joel
or a
Osteen.
Fortune
cookie?
Olstein.
Tanner says Joel Osteen, and the answer is Joel Osteen.
I thought it was a fortune cookie.
1-2.
1-1.
No, you've gotten 2
So I get
points.
the
now.
first. Okay.
Yeah, you get a point for the ones I get wrong too.
Okay.
So it's 2-1. So less 2-1 less.
2-1. Next question. Avoid focusing on the negative aspects of the past. I'm going to say fortune cookie.
Fortune
It
cookie.
is fortune
Joel Osteen.
cookie. So
3-1.
You got that wrong.
Next question
Oh, well.
for Tanner. You have something to offer that nobody else can give. Is that Joel Osteen
Osteen.
or a fortune cookie?
I'm gonna say
Cookie.
I'm gonna say the
Cookie.
Big Joel.
That's Joel himself. Joel
Dang
the
it.
man
Yeah,
Osteen.
anything that praises
3-2.
yourself is him.
3-2.
Less.
Next question. Question 6. Still less.
Game point right here.
When you can't naturally feel upbeat, it can sometimes help to act as if you did.
This has got to be Joel.
That's a cookie.
Yeah.
I'm
don't
gonna go
know.
with Tanner. I'm gonna say Joel Osteen. Oh, it's a fortune cookie.
Oh, it's
It is a
tied.
cookie.
Oh,
Good job, Father
yeah.
Sinatra.
Tied.
Yeah,
Should we
Father's
break into the rest of
killing
them, or
it.
should we do some other kind of tiebreaker?
Break into the next one and we'll tie break it. This will be the tiebreaker.
Yeah, but we're not gonna have enough for the next game. All right. Question 7.
You did even numbers. You should never do even numbers on these.
Correct.
Well,
that
it's
is true.
because there was only 12 on the quiz.
Oh, okay. Okay.
To affirm is to make firm.
Olstein.
That's
I
also
guess
Okay.
this
That's Olstein.
one, I'm going to throw it to you first. You can choose first. Well, I
I'll
guess you choose.
say Big JoJo.
It's a fortune cookie.
Cookie.
Let's go. Let's go
Oh, I got that
first.
one wrong. I thought I had the pattern down.
That was me. I got the cookie right.
I better stop because they'll probably strike.
Yeah,
me.
they'll probably
Yeah.
strike it. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yikes. That's a lot of self love.
Worship?
Worship, yeah. Like that's past self love.
Well, I
I've
always
never-
describe him as the.
Oh my gosh.
Oh dear.
I try not to take advice from sentient
But I mean,
cookies.
Olstein is like the gospel of sunshine and lollipops.
Well,
Never the
I would-
cross.
yeah.
I
to
would
be fair-
disagree.
To be fair to him or to other Protestants, he's not usual for Protestants. I know
No.
that they would be
No.
like health and wealth gospel. It doesn't tend to be very popular. It's more of a mega church thing.
Ugh.
By the way, I
He-
know
the
this was
The
relevant
first
a
time
while
I
ago.
ever Huh?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say the first time I ever saw Olstein, my mother-in-law showed him to me, and she was like, isn't there just, there's just something about him, and I was like, yeah, there's something about him, but I don't think that it's a good thing, because he got up there and it was just about enriching your own life, not really about spreading the gospel, not really about any of that.
Nothing
it
about
was-
the grace of God.
Off-putting. Yeah, exactly. It was very off-putting. And he made being a Christian sound like the easiest thing in the world to do, because like, you'll be loved. Christianity, like, it's about love, and you'll love this and you'll love that and you'll love yourself. And I'm like, did he read the stories of the disciples? Because a lot of them were self-loathing before Christ entered into their lives. And even if you go Old Testament, Jonah was pretty bitter for quite some time too, even after the whale.
Well, and the whole
So-
idea that everything will be love and roses and sunshines, just looking at the apostles, every single one of them died a slow and painful death, except for St. John.
Uh-oh.
Trying to
Uh-oh.
find-
No more fear.
Mm.
But fear is like a thing.
I just got a strange feeling that they're trying to wipe out religion as well, these people.
Of
Oh
course
yeah.
they-
Because the state has to be the new religion.
I know, it's not good, is it?
No.
Ooh, we lost
we-
father, the other father.
Oh,
Oh, there he is.
There he's back.
Yay, father.
didn't know
Yeah.
that.
He's behind, he's gone again.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what is dangerous for me with this, and I can attest, having been a Protestant the first 20 years of my life, that the idea that a good Christian doesn't feel fear, a good Christian doesn't feel sad, a good Christian doesn't, all these things, too blessed to be stressed, all of that. What ends up happening is when you do feel these very natural things, you start to question your faith, because it's like they're like, if you have faith, you won't experience this. And then you start to doubt, well, maybe I don't have faith. And since it's all sola fideism, maybe I'm not saved. All of those things go through your head. And I found it very unhealthy to me, but and very unhealthy to others, because these things are natural. You do feel fear. Jesus felt fear when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane. And one thing that really felt so liberating when I started learning about the Catholic Church as it really was, not what people had told me it was, and when I joined, it's so good to feel so accepted. And I'm not saying that in a touchy-feely way. It's, we know you're human. And that's why we have all these sacraments to help you. Everything we have the antidote to. If you're sick, you get the sacrament of healing. You know, if you sin, that's why we have confession. We want you there. We want to embrace you. And it was so freeing. And then, of course, you realize it's not just man-made. Jesus did this. The church didn't just do this separated from Jesus. Jesus did this because he was human and he loves us. And so I just can't even tell you what it's like to be before and after, to not have the church and then to have it and have Jesus, fully as he wanted us to be. And that's why this hurts my heart sometimes when I see some of the stuff with Joel Osteen. I know it's not psychologically healthy either.
Well, I gotta answer the question Evan asked. Main thing is just persistence. Father's a convert, but hasn't gone to confession 36 years, I would say. It's hard. I mean, I know that there's some people that haven't gone to confession since I've arrived at the parish almost 4 years ago. And with it being Divine Mercy Sunday this weekend, again, it's just going to continue to invite people to go to confession. But as I say, because I'm in a small parish, I know it's not comfortable to go to your pastor. Go to the neighboring parish. Go to somebody you don't know. Sometimes confession's easier when you don't know the priest.
I tell you what's worse about confession is in my church they got a confessional box and it's just clear glass all the way around, and I can't go in there. I just
People
can't.
have a hard time with that.
Yeah, I
it's just
cannot.
unfortunate the world that we live in.
I will be honest, I hate face-to-face confessions.
So do I.
I do too.
And so
And
I
when I
have
hear
to go
them, I
to
have my
another
eyes
church.
closed.
Yeah, I have to go to another church. I can't go to my local church because now they've modernized it. I just feel I can't look at the priest while I'm doing it. So I just go to another church. It's crazy, right? Crazy. Don't you think?
We have the option of going both ways, either behind the screen or face to face.
Yeah. And I like that.
I've always until COVID, because now they put the screen up so you can't do face to face. But I've always done face to face confessions just because
I hate it.
It was like a personal challenge for me to just
Really?
to sort of like what I considered it was like confronting my fear of my own sin.
Yeah, you can look at it that way if you want.
Like,
If you want.
so, because the thing is too, I mean, granted we're all human, and I'm sure that the fathers could speak to this better, but I don't think that the priest is going to sit there and judge me for eternity after that.
It's not that. It just feels weird because my life as a kid, I went to confessional box and it was dark and you could just there was a curtain and and I was used to that. It made me feel comfortable, and then they built this box and I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah, no, that I would
I
not.
just can't do it.
No, I think that if like the Catholic Church, if it tries to modernize itself, it's going to lose itself. Like that's
there's some bits they can modernize, I guess.
I think that's dangerous. Like, I don't know. Like you said, I don't want to go in a glass confessional box. That would make me feel like a goldfish.
The box
it takes away
literally glass.
Well, it takes away the anonymity. And correct me if I'm wrong, fathers, we have a right as Catholics to have a private, or not a private confession, but you know what I'm saying? An anonymous confession.
Yeah. Priests have the right not to have face-to-face confessions too. But I was just going to say, this is sometimes what's going through my mind when I hear confessions.
Pussy joke. Get on with it. Yes, get
I mean, seriously,
Nice.
that's sometimes how I feel. It's like, just get on with it.
I know. I keep in mind that the priest is a man, and they like to have it straight to the point. So I always just do the bullet points, unless
I know what I need to bring up too.
Yeah, unless
Uh-oh.
that I have an appointment one. Because also it's not very kind. If there's a big long confession line, there always is at my parish, and you sit there and take 5 minutes to say what you could say in 30 seconds.
Exactly.
Because you always got those people that say, well, remember about like 3 years ago when we had that terrible day and the sun wasn't shining and then all those birds showed up over the place? Well, then, I had coffee that morning and I had, it was very good coffee and I had clean sugars.
How old
and
is-
blah,
how
blah,
old
and
is
then
this guy?
eventually, and then it's just like, and I lied 5 times. Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is what.
I wish you didn't have to hear all that.
Nice.
That was awesome.
I laughed my butt off when I saw that the first time.
Oh, that was hysterically funny.
Yeah.
That was hysterically funny.
So if there is anyone out there that is afraid of going to their parish priest and stuff, I have found that sometimes when I cannot go to another parish, there is something, I almost said magical, grace filled, that when the priest is there, I don't see the human there. I really, really don't. It's like a grace that comes with the sacrament. I had an experience where a friend of mine, a friend I used to go out drinking with and all sorts of stuff, became a priest. And he had just become a priest. I got in line for confession, one of those big long lines. And then next thing you know, I saw him coming and getting in. And I'm like, darn it. And I'm 2 people away. So I said, okay, I'm just going to suck it up and do it. And I did. And the same thing happened. Someone that I knew, he became a different man in persona Christi. It really is for real.
You're too deep.
And the priest will go to hell. They'll go straight to hell if they even acknowledge you
Well,
or anything
like I
or
said,
tell anybody.
watch
So
the
think about it
movie
that
I
way.
Confess. The Alfred Hitchcock
And-
movie I Confess.
Yeah, exactly.
And while we do joke about it a little bit, there's one there's one thing that I will never, ever, ever, ever refuse or push off, and that's the opportunity to hear somebody's confession.
Yeah.
No matter where it is, like because priests aren't allowed to talk about it. So like I was late getting home because somebody had swung by and wanted to talk. Right. They wanted to talk. So my mom's like, well, why couldn't they have just found another? Didn't they know it was Sunday afternoon and you were trying to get home? I'm like, Mommy, like you just don't understand what type of courage that takes for that person to want to talk to you or the need to talk.
Mm-hmm.
You can't lose those opportunities. You can't.
Yeah.
For all you know, that the person's
mummy as well.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
well, I was gonna say, Father, for all you know, that guy was gonna go and get hit by a bus and die, and that was his chance.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know where your number's up.
Yeah.
Well, if
Strange.
you believe the self-indulgent lies that are going around, your number will never be up. It's just going to take, human sacrifice in order for you to live forever. Like
Who
that's
wants
such
to
a
live forever anyway? Who wants to
Right?
live forever?
Thank you, Queen.
Exactly.
And I haven't seen the Highlander in a long time.
Yeah, it's a kind of magic. Yeah.
Ba-dum-bum.
Oh dear. We're all
Anyway.
geeks, but we believe in God. Excellent. How cool is that?
Well, I was kind of hoping Odin would have been able to make it. It's been a while since he's joined us.
He's got a lot of family stuff going on lately. Like he even missed FNT last week.
Well, his reason.
was Good Friday.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I
That's right,
wasn't
he's
gonna.
streaming tonight. I
Yep.
forgot about that.
You should go. Guilt him. I'm kidding. Odin, if you're watching this, I'm joking.
No. Well, he has a baby too, and
Yes.
when you have a newborn, I mean, you're lucky if you get like an hour's sleep.
Sleep is for the weak and the dead.
Yeah, come on for
Just
5
kidding.
minutes at least.
Well, you know, some children just sleep right through. If you're blessed with a kid, it's just born and that kid sleeps right through. You're blessed, aren't you? You know, majority of them though, they wake up at 2:00 in the morning.
Usually that happens with the first baby because God doesn't wants you to have another.
All right. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Never knew that. He's making pizza. Busy making pizza.
Yeah, I was kidding with him last night because we're still in the octave of Easter, which means we didn't have to abstain the fast rule or the abstinence rule from meat. But a lot of people
Although
don't
I had
realize.
shrimp yesterday anyway.
But a lot of people don't realize we're still supposed to abstain from meat on Fridays year round.
No, I know that. I fish
But a lot of
every
people don't.
Friday. I know. But
I did until I was in my 20s.
But a lot of people ignore the stuff now, don't they? I mean, I don't know. You guys are all American, right? But in England, it's a lot of people. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people that just. Every time I go to church, it's always people of my age. I never see anyone young anymore, unless they're with with the father holding the hand. Never see any teenagers there. It's just getting a bit depressing at the moment. You know what I mean? From my end, I don't know what it's like with you guys.
That kind of goes back to the beginning, talking about overpopulation. I mean, Europe is contracepting itself out of existence.
Yeah.
The Muslims are doing through breeding what we couldn't do through the Crusades.
Yeah,
Well,
and still Boris
if your
can't
Muslim
buy a
uncle is
bloody
watching,
comb for
I
his
love you.
hair. Yeah.
But
I
I'll have to
think
have you lead
no.
the storming of Westminster. Time to take it back for the church.
Yeah.
I just remember the story that
Oh my!
I guess things were bad for the C of E and they were hurting for cash, and somebody floated the idea to the Catholic Archbishop of Canterbury that he might be interested because they were thinking of selling Canterbury back, and he turned and politely said, "I'm sorry, we don't deal." Oh no, I'm sorry, not Canterbury, Westminster. That they were looking to sell Westminster Abbey, and the Catholic Archbishop said, "I'm very sorry, we don't deal in stolen property."
Zing.
Very good.
See, who says bishops don't have a sense of humor? Oh my
Exactly.
word!
A lot of people
Yeah.
do.
I think.
Do you know
Yeah,
what's
it-
interesting about our religion? Okay, right. I wonder, right, and maybe you guys could tell me this. You know, you watch those films, the Da Vinci Code and all that. You wonder
seen
about things like that, don't you? You wonder about things like that, whether they have detectives as priests investigating certain things, and they have all these divisions in the
So
church.
I was
I
part
wonder
of
if
Opus
that's
Dei.
really true.
I was part of Opus Dei before I entered the seminary, and they do not have monks.
Damn it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. The closest I think we have is exorcists because they do have to investigate possible cases of exorcism. But beyond that, no. And when things like the Da Vinci Code, like you were saying, that all you have to do is Google and see that there are no
Yeah.
monks. And all of the things that they say, and they're like, it's revelation and the church has to hide it. It's like, no, we don't have to hide any of that because that rumor was going around in the 3rd century and everyone was like, whatever, that's stupid. So you have nothing to fear from the truth.
What would you guys think of these shows? Like there was a show called Warrior Nun, which I saw on Netflix. Don't know if you guys
Yeah.
saw it.
I haven't seen it.
It's
Did you see it?
No.
before I got rid of Netflix, yes, I saw it being advertised, and I
Yeah,
just
Warrior
shook
Nun.
my head.
It was all right. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was very stupid, but it was a lot of fun.
I think it's when Catholic imagery is used in
Yeah.
certain like
I understand.
Father Christopher Miller and I have like talked about it too, where when they use like demons and
Mm-hmm.
satanic stuff for entertainment, I am very uncomfortable with that because
Really?
that's not really stuff that I
Well,
think you
and
should be presenting
that's
in
what
an
I-
entertaining
exactly.
way.
And that's what I was telling the rabbi when we did our stream a few weeks ago. Because he's always said,
Oh, he's frozen.
Oh, good. Father's frozen. It's not me for once. I tell you, Satan comes in and messes
He
with
does,
stuff
doesn't
every
he?
time
He
we start
does.
talking about
Come
spiritual
on,
warfare.
there I am. No,
There you are. And he's back.
You fix,
But I was,
finish your,
I was
repeat
telling
your
the
point.
rabbi about that. So I don't know if Father Sinatra knows. I've been doing a weekly stream with the rabbi from another planet, and that's been a blast.
Yeah,
You know
I,
what,
I
right?
almost watched yesterday, but I couldn't. I couldn't.
If you want to scare Father Miller, all you have to do is show him this, and he's
I've
terrified.
never
seen
Look
that.
at that.
I've
He's
never seen that movie.
terrified.
I'll tell you a story after we get offline. So we're at the bottom of the hour. I know Lady Gravemaster has to get running, and
Yeah.
I got to get ready for the weekend too. So thank you everybody for joining, and
No
for those
worries.
watching, thank you again for joining. Please be sure to hit the like button, and till next month, God bless.
Ta-da!